These things, old hard drives, there are tons of them about, and it's really quite interesting to do stuff with them. So what we're going to do is going to make a speaker from an old hard drive. We're going to need an old hard drive, either an external one that's cased like that, or maybe one you pull from your computer. You're going to need a bit of acrylic. I'm using this yellow bit of acrylic, and builder's board. If you want to know more about this material, have a look at the video, An Awesome Model Making Material. This stuff's in Europe and the UK. I think it's Foamex or Certaboard? Not 100% sure, but Foamex certainly. So we need those bits, and the first thing to do is crack that up. These things always look pretty much the same actually when you get them out of the caddy or the container. They look like that. That's the top cover, there's the control board, and what we need to do is remove these screws. These will be sometimes different. This one's a Torx fitting, and we just undo the screws. Okay, there's sometimes a hidden screw beneath the label. That's to make sure that they can get you if you void the warranty. Once you've undone those screws, just lift the top up, and that's the inside of it. That's the actual disc there where all data is recorded. That's the drive motor, and that's the read-write head. And it's that bit that we're actually after. This read-write head, along with the coil at the bottom and the magnet setup. Those bits are the bits we want. Okay, so we've removed the armature. Now, at the bottom end of the armature, this is the voice coil, and that went in between the two magnets. Now, it's incredibly delicate, and you have two wires there that you can see, but your chances actually of soldering onto them are pretty slim to none at all. And they've been taken here to this connector. So what we need to do on the connector is identify the two pins that go to the voice coil. Now, I've identified them here as these two, and there should be somewhere between 4 and 14 ohms resistance. The rest will be in the kilo ohm to mega ohm resistance. But those two, or the two you're looking for, will have an ohm resistance of 4 to 14 ohms. Once you recognise that, you can pluck those out, and those are robust enough for us to be able to solder on without disturbing any of this, because we want to keep this intact. So all we really have to do is solder two wires onto there, and then mount the whole thing back into this nice substantial frame, which we're going to use. We don't need all of this stuff, so we can saw that off, and we're going to use those points here where everything was screwed down nice and tight. So that's all I'm going to do. Solder two wires here, chop this, put everything back together. Okay, that's it. We've chopped that bit off. We've soldered a wire into 1 and 2, so that's now where we're going to connect it. There's the voice coil all back together. Okay, so there it is, and all I've done is mount it onto a bit of builder's board so I get the correct orientation, and I've plunked another bit on there on the armature so that we can attach something to it. So that'll stand nice and square. And the idea is that armature will waggle, and as it moves backwards and forwards, it needs to push something. Of course, what we're going to push with it is a diaphragm. Now, we've got a number of options on that diaphragm. We could just actually grab a speaker and cut the cone out. That would probably work really well, actually. What we're going to do is make our own diaphragm out of a piece of acrylic. Now, this obviously has a circular hole cut in it because we're going to stretch a diaphragm over that circular hole. Okay, so all I've done is put a bit of double-sided sticky tape on the back of that, and I've got some cellophane. So what I'm going to do is peel off the sticky tape and stick the cellophane to it. The good thing about cellophane is that when you heat it, it will actually shrink. So it shrinks tight as a drum, and it stays shrunk, which is very cool. And you can do that with a hairdryer. So pick that off. Roll out a bit of our cellophane. And then we can stick that on there. Heat that with the hairdryer, let it stretch taut, and we have our membrane. Okay, so here's a close-up of it so you can see what I've done. I've taken a flat piece of board, I've glued a little angle to it, and then I've glued the acrylic with its drum onto that. Then just behind that, I've glued the assembly that we made from the hard drive, and you'll note that little bit free to move. I put a little angle in there to hold everything straight. The other thing I've made is this. There's a little bit of bent brass rod, and I've cut a disc out of the builder's board and glued it onto the rod. That then glues into there, and we get a bit of double-sided tape and rest it against our diaphragm, and that is complete and ready to test. Okay, there it is all set up, plugged in and ready to play. Buddy by Bandsound from www.bandsound.com. The song I think that everybody loves to hate or hates to love, I'm not sure. But anyway, let's play a little bit of that music and see how our speaker does. Isn't that awesome? There it is. There's the speaker attached to its bit of cellophane. Was a bit tinny, but then it is a bit of cellophane. I don't doubt that if you did something like chop out that cone and then put that cone in there, you get a much better reproduction. But easy to do, bit of fun, how to turn a hard drive into a speaker. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.